All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys, we'd like to welcome you to the show. This is your host of the evening, DJJustJayOK with Just Dimes ENT, where we advocate here at the Soda You Dig for children first. This is going to be another very clear-cut example of all of the things that I talk about. I provide you guys, with many examples of the narrative that we're trying to point out and show that fathers in the household and having nuclear families, mother and father, DNA father and mother in the household, provides children balance, and it is an important value to have in the household, right? There are people that don't like that narrative. There are people that think that I'm full of crap. Well, I understand that. There are people that are just straight out sensitive to my content. I understand that also. So for those people that cannot handle some of the things that we're going to say, and we're going to speak very harshly about certain subjects pertaining to the Black community, all I ask you guys to do is just click that red X in the top right corner. Just exit my video. Save yourself the drama, save yourself the time, save yourself flagging my video, because I don't need you guys to flag my video. So just exit the video. For everybody else that understands that what we're going to do is advocate for children and families, here's the story. There was a daycare worker that has pleaded guilty to killing an 8-month-old girl by smothering her with a blanket because she wouldn't go to sleep. How much sense does that even make? Her name is Leah Walden, and you guys will see her pop up on the screen here in just a moment. Right here, this person. We're going to talk extensively about her. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to take a pen, stick it in that part of the story, bookmark it. We're going to come right back to that, okay? Now, Leah Walden is spelled L-E-A Walden, W-A-L-D-E-N, age 24, admitted to murder of little baby Reese Bowman. Again, 8-month-old baby Reese Bowman at Rocketeers Learning Center in Baltimore in May of 2017 at a court hearing on Tuesday, which was just recently, which is why we're doing this story now. Now, Walden was sentenced to 70 years in prison for the horrifying killing by Judge Althea Handy, who sobbed as she handed down the sentence. And normally judges are supposed to keep their composure. So if a judge loses her composure, probably knowing that they've seen a lot of things in life, that had to really struck a chord with them. And that's something else I'm going to bring up here in just a little bit, okay? Now, in heartbreaking scenes, Reese's father, Justin Bowman, wept as he told the court, "I will never see my little girl take her first steps, hold her, kiss her, or comfort her when she's scared, or even hear her say, 'I love you.' I am devastated. Hashtag here's the father." Now turning to Walden and pointing, he said, "Reese Annette Bowman accomplished more in her short life than this woman ever will." It's a key point. It's very important that he said that. Walden tried to explain her actions by saying she snapped and had not been given appropriate training or assistance for her job. What we're going to do is we're going to look at one of her photos that actually posted her qualifications, if you guys don't mind me doing that. Is that okay with you guys? Let's go back to that blue photo. I'm going to show you guys something real quick about Leah Walden. And this is why I don't like liars, I don't like cheaters, and I don't like criminals. Because what she did was criminal. Check this out. Rocketeers Learning Center, Leah Walden said, "I have 1 year of professional child care experience and 6 years of part-time babysitting." Just that statement alone should mean that you have enough common sense not to choke a child out and smother a child and abuse a child, right? We would assume, but let's keep going. She says, "I am currently a senior staff teacher in the Gentle Storks #2 class, and I really enjoy it. I love seeing the children develop new skills like sitting up, crawling, and walking. The best part of being an infant teacher is caring for babies who love me as much as I love them. This has been the most rewarding experience for me." Knowing that babies cannot defend themselves, they cannot speak for themselves. They cannot tell you what's wrong. They have not developed their cognitive awareness yet. So for a person that is teaching infant children at a daycare that is supposed to specialize in all of the needs that these children have, should know not to do what she did. And what she did was she took a blanket and smothered a child to death, that the child couldn't breathe, and you tried to stop the child from breathing. I don't know how many of you guys are parents out there, but this is beyond ridiculous. And I'm telling you, I had my daughter in daycare. Shout out to my daughter's mother. We took her out of daycare, not for any reason in particular, but we only had her in daycare when we absolutely had to have her in daycare. So what I ended up doing, me personally, and maybe some of you parents can think about this, is I ended up switching shifts at my job when they offered up a third shift where I could work weekends, but it required me to work 40 hours, which was a ton of hours on the weekend. But that way it made it to where I could be available for my daughter 4 days a week, so I could care for her Monday through Thursday while her mom worked Monday through Thursday. So we just offset the time. So that way she didn't have to spend so much time in daycare at all. So again, shout out to my daughter's mother. Shout out to my baby. We did what we had to do because these people are human. I get that. You'll get frustrated. I get that. But you have to understand that these children cannot defend themselves. I think this is what I've always felt about daycare workers. It takes a very, very special person to be a daycare worker and be responsible and take care of those children. This is not like you're a factory worker working on parts or something. You drop a part, it'll put a ding in it. Maybe you can machine it out. Maybe you can buff it out. No, doesn't work that way. This is not like you screwed up on somebody's, minute plan and you can maybe, call escalations and get it undone and fix their contract on a cell phone company. No, it's nothing like that. Right? This is not like you dropped too many fries in the vat and then you had to turn around and dump those fries because they went over the shelf life. It's not like that. These are living, breathing organisms that will perish if not cared for in such a delicate way. It takes a special person to do that. I've always said for nurses, for people that, shout out to my nurses, anybody that's an RN, a CNA, an LPN, anything like that. Shout out to all my doctors. Shout out to everybody in the medical field. Everybody. Because I'm going to tell you guys something. It takes a very special person to do that kind of job. I'll tell you guys a story real quick. There was a point in time when I went to school to be a CNA. Got through all of it wonderful. I know the terminology. I knew how to do all the testing, all of the things that we practice in class. Passed all of that with flying colors until we had to do our clinicals. And I finally got to one of those facilities and they had those people that can't control their bodily functions and stuff like that. The special needs people. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I can deal with old folks, but the special needs people, I can't do. And I realized that. I went the first day and got through it. The second day, they asked me to clean up after a person, and my stomach couldn't handle it. I quit the class and I left. Because I said, the worst thing I could possibly do is neglect this person, which is considered to be abuse also. I did the responsible thing at the time, and I said, this isn't for me. Brielle said, nurses do hard work, doctors get all the credit. Very true. Shout out to my people that do home health. Where are those people at? This is a very, very important thing because people's lives and their well-being is on the line, okay? So let's keep going, okay? Now, Walden tried to explain her actions by saying she snapped and had not been given appropriate training or assistance for her job. Now, I want you guys to look at what you just saw on the screen a minute ago. She qualified herself in her own words. So if you tell me something, I'm going to believe you until I find out otherwise. You lie on an application, then you are the one that's responsible. I don't think people should lie at all. And I think that's part of the human responsibility. If a person asks you a question, how much experience do you have? Then I feel like you have the responsibility of being honest. You're talking about you didn't have enough training. If you're talking about she had all of that experience, that is your training. You know not to smother a damn child with a blanket to stop him from crying. You don't do that. No excuse for that. Assistant State Attorney Ann Colt Leadus said Walden had told a co-worker, and guys, I'm getting ready to use some foul language, so just be prepared. If you got young children or anybody watching the show, put them out the room, turn off my channel, do something. But I'm going to read exactly what's in the transcripts, okay? There is some foul language, but I'm going to read it off. This ain't y'all first time hearing foul language, all right? So let's be grown about this. She told a co-worker, "Girl, I'm frustrated. I'm sick of this little bitch. I hate this little bitch. She makes me want to punch her in the face." Leah Walden said this about baby 8-month-old Reese Bowman. Let's say that one more time. She told her co-worker, "Girl, I'm frustrated. I'm sick of this little bitch. I hate this little bitch." Think about how strong that terminology is. She makes me want to punch her in the face. Taking the pen out of the bookmark. Here we go. First and foremost, if you see something, you're supposed to say something, or you could be charged with a crime. In my opinion, that coworker at that daycare should also be held accountable, if not scolded, lose her job on probation or something for even hearing those words and not immediately calling the police or the director or somebody, getting that child out of the way of this woman. Something should have been done. As an older person, an adult, or whatever that coworker was, should have said something. How many people agree with that? I think she should be culpable in this also. Because how did she hear those words, an actual threat to an 8-month-old baby, and then the woman have time to actually carry out that threat? How does that even happen? This is why people watch my show, because I will ask questions that people won't even think about. Like, you won't even think to hold people accountable for certain things. Well, if we all held each other accountable for each and everything, then again, we could do a hell of a lot better than where we are. Keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Now, the court heard that Walden returned from lunch and became frustrated that baby Reese would not sleep. Because that's what fucking babies do. And I'm a father that's been through that at one period in my life. I've been around plenty of children. I get it. That's why I say it takes a special person. Let's keep going. So because baby Reese would not sleep, she then slapped her and pinned her down before piling blankets over her face and suffocating her. Y'all see all that experience on the screen that she claimed she had so this dumbass broad could get the job? They trusted this woman, gave her a chance to work this job because she begged these white people for a job, and these white people gave her a job. And what does she do? Come back from lunch because an 8-month-old won't go to sleep and won't stop crying. So what does she do? She slaps the 8-month-old and pinned her down before piling blankets on top of her to stop her from crying, and ended up suffocating 8-month-old baby Reese Bowman. Walden initially claimed she had fed the baby and put her in her crib for a nap before coming back 45 minutes later to find the girl unresponsive. I'm going to read that again because here's the lie. She said she had fed the baby, put her in the crib for a nap before coming back 45 minutes later to find the girl unresponsive, which is a lie. And I'll get to that here in a minute. But her argument unraveled after the center's closed caption television revealed the truth, which they had her on camera, which I'm glad they have cameras because these people apparently don't know how to not lie. Walden is seen on camera covering the baby with excessive blankets for long periods of time. She was also filmed covering the child's face with a pillow and violently snatching the baby and slapping her. The closed caption TV or CCTV footage played in the court. So what they did, so check this out, guys. This is what happened. What they did was they waited for this dumbass Leah Walden to tell her story. They're like, And then what happened? You came back from lunch and you fed her, you put her down for a nap and she didn't go to sleep. Okay. All right. Are you sure that's what happened? Okay. So everybody, jury, everybody got that? Okay. All right. So judge, we're good? We're good? All right. Thank you very much. Now, guys, what I'd like to do is present you evidence on video as to what actually happened. Boy, oh boy, I'm glad that they did it that way. Because the thing is, when you have video undisputable evidence, it seems that these people that are mothers, these people that are caretakers of children are irresponsible as hell. The fact that my brother Tommy refers to them as the worst stewards of children in the world, when we have hundreds, if not thousands of examples of videos to show you, and I actually got more videos I'm gonna show you guys about how these women are treating these children and upbringing them. They suck. They suck at being parents. They do. We have too many examples of this, and the more and more I continue to point this out, maybe at some point it'll wake people up, and maybe when you see these type of signs start to come up, maybe you guys might be able to save someone's life. Maybe at some point you guys might be able to come to my video and say, Just Jay, thank you so much, man. You made me realize something, and I was able to prevent this child from dying based on the teachings that you've been teaching us and these warning signs that you've been showing us, okay? Now, they showed this on closed caption TV, the videotape. Walden was seen covering the baby with excessive blankets for long periods of time. She was also filmed covering the child's face with a pillow and violently snatching the baby and slapping her. The CCTV footage played in court showed the baby kicking wildly as the enraged daycare worker smothered her with the blanket. Where are my parents at? I remember when my daughter was 8 months old. I remember all of my daughter's life. 8 months old. I'm trying to keep from crying because I'm extremely upset. Guys, listen to my voice. This baby probably can't walk. This baby probably can't talk. This baby can't tell you what's wrong. This baby can't tell you when she needs to go to the bathroom or anything like that. She cannot defend herself at all. I'm just sitting here imagining right now. Imagine this. That's a beautiful baby. Lord have mercy. From a father's standpoint, the fact that he was even able to keep his composure in court, I can't promise you that I wouldn't have tried to harm this woman myself. I can't promise you I would not have tried to. Just in honor of my daughter. I would have did a few years for that. Imagine this. She violently snatched this baby, slapped the baby, 8-month-old, in the face, then took blankets and pillows and shoved it on the baby's face. And because this baby is not strong enough to take her little bitty arms, her tiny pink little arms, and push these blankets and pillows and the force of this grown-ass woman, Leah Walden's hands that are shoving this pillow into her face, couldn't push it up so she could take another breath. This baby, in her small, young, undeveloped mind, couldn't do anything, and all her body knew to do was kick her legs, fight, fight, and fight. Kicking her legs as much as she can, trying to push these blankets off her face. And I want to ask you guys this. Because there are some dynamics I'm going to point out that you guys are not going to like me for. What is it in the world, Reese Bowman, 8 months old, what is it that this little tiny life, this beautiful little life, what is it that this little girl could possibly have done to this grown-ass adult to deserve to lose her life? Is there anything in this world that she could have done that was that bad? You couldn't ask for somebody else's help? Call the goddamn director. Shit. I mean, tell him you're not qualified or something. You can't handle this. This murder did not need to happen. Nate Wynn, you actually just talked about exactly the dynamic that I'm getting ready to point out that is probably going to get me flagged and is probably going to piss a lot of pro-blacks off. Guys ready for it? Check this out. You guys wonder why white people don't like black people. With us being only 17% of the total population, we commit the most crimes, 50%, more than 50% as a whole. And you wonder why they look at us as violent. You wonder why they call us super predators. You wonder why they think that all of us don't have any damn sense in home training. You wonder why they think that we suck at raising children. You wonder why they don't want to give us jobs. I can almost bet your ass that this director probably wish she would have hired somebody white. Uh-oh. Is that going to get me flagged? I will say it again. As easy as it is for white people to be familiar with their kind, the reason why you wonder why they tend to apprehend white suspects, because they can relate to them. They look just like them. They seem like cousins or family members. They relate to them. They don't relate to us. But you have this thing called affirmative action, which forces companies to consider black applications and force them into a situation, especially in taxes, where you have to hire a certain number of blacks, or at least give them an opportunity. You're forced to hire the worst stewards of children on the planet. There is no race, there is no group on planet Earth that is as bad as our collective of parents are. Hashtag for the dumbasses, not all. Not all, not all. Nor have I ever said all. But it's too fucking many. Way too many. All right? Let's keep going. Judge Handy broke down as she watched this little baby on CCTV of the baby's murder shortly after the young daycare worker entered the court. Composing herself, she said, "I'm just reflecting on everything I heard. There are tears everywhere in the courtroom." Walden accepted that the murder was premeditated, but said, "There was not a time in my heart that I wanted this to happen." Her sister, Samantha Carlton, told the court, "She's not a monster. She's not an evil person. She was just frustrated." Well, to Samantha Carlton, because you guys know how to be able to reach out to me, my email address is on the screen. Let me say this about you and your sister. Your sister is a monster. She is 100% a monster. Maybe worse than that. She's a demon. She's a demon that doesn't deserve to have children. She doesn't deserve to have a husband. She doesn't deserve to have her freedom on earth. Not now, not ever. When you think it's okay to harm children that are defenseless, that's exactly what a monster is. You take advantage of the weak. You take advantage of the defenseless. Because you can. Because you felt like it. That's a bully. That's a coward. And that for damn sure would qualify as a monster. What she did was monstrous. All right? That's what your sister is. She's definitely that. Now, she turned to the Bowman's family and said, "I'm so sorry. With all my heart, I'm sorry." Mr. Bowman told the court that Reese's older brother Sawyer also attended the daycare and was at the center, but was upstairs when she was killed. He said the family had been forced to sell their house, leave their jobs, and move away from Baltimore after the murder. It has left them devastated. I can't even imagine. An obituary written by Reese's parents posted shortly after the death read, "Dearest baby, please know that our greatest blessing was having you. This beautiful, happy, loving child entered the world on September 4th of 2016, being the first girl born into the Bowman family in 47 years. Picture that. She had recently began chattering, clapping, crawling. She lit up and laughed every time her brother Sawyer was nearby. Taken way too soon from all those who love her, her spirit and memory will remain in our hearts eternally." The city's criminal investigators, Chief Stanley Bradford, told the Baltimore Sun how Walden was seen, quote, "violently snatching the child out of the crib with one arm." You guys remember that Ring video of that woman that grabbed that little baby by the arm, rang the doorbell, and ran off? You remember that? Swinging at the baby as if she was slapping her and placing pillows over the baby's face. He added, "Watching that video was disturbing, Reese Bowman. In my opinion, was tortured. Rocketeers was shut down after Reese's death, and a crowdfunding campaign to pay for the Bowman's funeral. Guess how much they were asking for on the GoFundMe? Let's play the guessing game for a moment. If you guys haven't hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up. Drop a thumbs up and let everybody know that we're live, please. We got a couple more people that donated to the show. I'm getting ready to read those here in just a moment. I need everybody to confirm that they've hit the thumbs up, please. If you're going to donate to the show. Go ahead and help us out. If not, please hit the thumbs up. That's the least you can do if you're just watching for free. BJ Bands was the first person out the gate that got it correct. Tasha Foster, CJ Gunn, Sue Ann was close. Mike Vick got it. They were asking for $5,000. Now, here's the other question. How much do you think that they actually raised? Since we know that crowdfunding is normally funded by mainly benevolent white people, and there's a reason I said that. How much money do you think they actually got? How much money do you think they actually got for the GoFundMe? They asked for $5,000. How much do you think that those benevolent white people actually gave them? Take a wild guess. Let me say thank you to a couple people that donated to the show. Thank you to LaShondra Taylor. Thank you to Jimmy D. Thank you to, damn it, I always forget her name. Miss Lady T. Sinades. That's right. Thank you to Neil Dilworth in the chat. Also, thank you to, hold on. Yeah, okay. This is the first donation. If it's your first time donating to the show, always put your chat name so I can call you by your chat name. This one is Quentin W. Thank you very much. I'm not going to say your whole name. And this one comes from, let me make sure I can say the name. I think I know who this is. I want to say this is Kitten Paws, but I can't quite remember. So I'm going to say to Nicole, thank you. Thank you to Quentin. Thank you to Neil. Also, thank you to, I appreciate the positive message and awareness of your show, Just Jay, from Squad Snipers. Thank you very much. To Miss Lady T. Snage, Jimmy D, and LaShondra Taylor. Guys, they got over $50,000. The reason, it's not you. Okay. So I had that name wrong. You guys got to start putting your chat name in there so I can start remembering. Once I see it enough times, I'll remember it. Oh, that's okay, Mike. I appreciate that, Michael. Michael Wright. Thank you very much. They raised $50,000. Now, why am I bringing that up? The reason why I'm bringing that up is because white people are sending yet another message. The same way that I talked to you guys about Patrick Smith, who they also did the same thing. They asked for a basic amount of money, and they went 5 times over that. These people, in this case of baby Reese Bowman, asked for $5,000, and they gave her over $50,000. You can say, wow, that's cool. You can say, wow, that's a lot of money. No, guys, they're sending a message. It's deeper than money. Because believe me, if the Bowman family could trade that money to get their daughter back, I can guarantee you they would do it in a heartbeat. There's no amount of money in the world that they would have traded their daughter for. They're sending a message to say, this is how frustrated and pissed off white people are at this point, with black people not being held properly accountable for all the bull crap that they're doing. Not only do black people do it to themselves, but they are also raising people that are doing this to everybody else. It's one thing when the trash starts spilling out of your trash can and outside of your house and on your lawn, but once it starts to fly down the street and it starts getting into neighbors' fences in their yard, it starts to affect their house, and then they can start to smell it. And now the city is coming out writing them tickets for your trash. Understand the analogy. That's essentially what we've done. We are now raising the burdens of everyone else. We're putting our burdens off on everyone else, and everyone else has to suffer for us raising shitty children. Okay? And they're tired of it. In a statement at the time of the incident last year, Baltimore police said it appeared the baby was awake at the time of the assault. Stanley Bradford, head of Baltimore's homicide unit, said, "To me and to all of us who are parents, when we are looking at something like that, there is no explanation to give." And I agree. It's just evil. I mean, what motive is there to treat a baby that way? Again, I agree. From what I saw, why would you treat an 8-month-old baby or any child like that, for that matter, in any manner? Bradford also added, "Watching that video is disturbing. Reese Bowman, in my opinion, was tortured." Her family released a statement saying losing her had caused tremendous pain and said their hearts are broken. They also added, "No family should ever have to experience the loss of a child under any circumstance." Her admission came during a wrenching 2-hour hearing in the Baltimore Circuit Court, and by the end, even the judge cried. So Leah Walden, again, age 24, the black woman on the screen at the top there, wore shackles and a sweatshirt from jail, and at the time, her voice was soft. And the judge told her to speak up as she pled guilty to murder. With her plea, Walden of Windsor Mill admitted she willfully and deliberately killed 8-month-old Reese Bowman last year at a daycare center downtown. It was premeditated murder in the first degree. You thought about it, even though it might have been brief. You do understand that, Handy asked her, and she said yes while crying. Technically, Handy sentenced Walden to life in prison without any time beyond 70 years suspended, meaning she won't get out until she's in her 90s if she serves the full sentence. And that's a big ass if in there, because I think all she has to do is serve 85% of the time. The facts were undisputed, and Justin Bowman stood before the judge saying all this and hunched over in his notes. The father wept as he read this. "My little girl will never get to take her first steps. Hold her, kiss her, comfort her when she's scared. Hear her say, 'I love you.'" And he was trembling, and this is coming from a father. He said, "I'm devastated." Now, the couple ended up selling their house. They left their jobs and they moved away from Baltimore altogether. It was all too much, she said, to live amid the stabbing reminders. He cries at the sight of another father holding a little girl. I want you guys to think about that. He doesn't even DJ part-time anymore, he said. He doesn't see his old friends and he rarely goes out. "I have changed and I hate it," he told the judge. His brother stood beside him and wrapped his arms around his shoulders. "Something happened after his baby girl was murdered," the father went on. Bowman saw other parents hugging their children tighter. He noticed adults call their own parents more. In his daughter's short life, he said, "Reese inspired them all. Just consider the funeral crowd that filled the basilica, which you guys will see that on the screen here in a minute with those photos." Then the grieving father turned to Walden, who sat at the attorney table by him, and Bowman's voice grew firm, and he pointed down at her and said, "Reese Annette Bowman accomplished more in her short life than this woman ever will." Powerful words from a father. Powerful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the fair usage real quick, and I'm going to show you the couple of news stories, the initial story, and then I'm going to show you guys the more current stories that you've already heard me speak on, okay? So if you guys would, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Some breaking news. A Southeast Baltimore daycare worker is arrested, accused of killing an 8-month-old girl. 23-year-old Leah Walden faces numerous charges, including first and second-degree murder in the death of Reese Bowman. Tuesday, police say they were called to the unit block of South High Street after a report of a baby not breathing. The baby was taken to an area hospital and pronounced dead. Police say Walden assaulted her during nap time.
I agree with what Dwayne just said. I feel exactly what you're saying, Dwayne. 257 thumbs up. Guys, can we get more thumbs up in there? If you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do.
The Rocket
What's up, Smiles and Twisted MD? What's up? What's up?
Tears Learning Center remained closed Thursday after police say an employee killed an 8-month-old baby inside.
And to me, and all of us who are parents, when we look at something like that, there's not an explanation that anyone could give from what I saw why you would treat an 8-month-old baby, or any child for that matter, in that manner.
Police say they were called there Tuesday afternoon and found baby Reese Bowman not breathing. They rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. The daycare owner gave police video, and they call what caretaker Leah Walden did on that video disturbing.
Reese Bowman, in my opinion, was tortured. The video would show Miss Walden covering the baby with excessive blankets for long periods of time, which fully covered the child's head. She violently snatched the child out of the crib by one arm several times, swinging at the baby as if she was slapping her and placing pillows over the baby's face.
That's one of the things that I asked CJ Gunn. For anybody that watches this video, guys, we've been getting a lot of views on these videos. Anybody that lives in that area or anybody that has some power, I ask you guys, please step up and ask about that coworker. Find out her name or his name or whoever it was more than likely a woman, and find out what the police can do to get this person charged for hearing that and not doing any damn thing about it. I would love to see that happen.
Police arrested and charged Walden with numerous offenses, including first-degree murder. Police say another infant in the same room is not harmed. They say others worked at the daycare, but Walden was in a room alone with the 2 babies.
It's obvious to me while she's there, she's constantly looking to see who's looking at her. So there's other people there, but she's the only person in this particular room that have access to this child.
People who live and work near the daycare are stunned and saddened.
It hurts because I love children. I have great grandchildren. It hurts.
Child abuse investigators are working alongside homicide detectives to investigate and determine if there are any other victims. Police said they have no idea of Walden's motive for this attack on the baby.
Just evil. I mean, what motive could you possibly have for an 8-month-old baby to treat a baby that way? There is no motive that can explain something like this.
I 100% agree. Let's keep going.
Racketeers Learning Center on South High Street in Baltimore shut down in May following the death of an 8-month-old girl, Reese Bowman. The Maryland Department of Education issued an emergency suspension of the center's license. Administrative Law Judge David Hofstetter ruling Wednesday it will remain closed pending the outcome of the state's ongoing investigation. An employee, Leah Walden, is charged with first-degree murder, assault, and child abuse resulting in death. She is accused of torturing the infant, violently shaking the child, and covering the baby's face and head with blankets. During a hearing concerning the reopening of the daycare, the center's director admitted Walden was not qualified to be left alone with infants, but it had happened several times. She was supposed to be supervised. Investigators found she had not completed a 45-hour course and did not have the proper credentials. Other staffing concerns. The state has not yet received requested information on the qualifications and credentials of several other workers, and so far investigators have not been able to do a physical examination of the Racketeers building. In his findings, the administrative law judge says the Department of Education took proper action in closing the center. His conclusion, the emergency suspension is imperatively required for the safety and welfare of children in care at Rocketeers. Reporting from the newsroom, Barry Sims, WBAL-TV 11 News. The infant was in her care. Leah Walden now admitting in court she is responsible for the baby's death.
She addressed the victim's family in court. She apologized to them. She was very remorseful. She told them that she would, be praying for them and ask for their forgiveness in time.
In May 2017.
What? Stop. She said she'll be praying for them. Man, if it was me, I don't want you to say nothing to me. Don't say a damn thing. Don't say anything to me. I'm going to pray for you, but you killed my kid. You better be praying for yourself that I don't do the same thing to you. Where my parents at out there? Man, what a crock of crap.
Responsible for the baby's death.
Wow. She addressed the victim's family in court. She apologized to them. She was very remorseful. She told them that she would be praying for them and ask for their forgiveness in time.
In May 2017, Walden was working at the Rocketeers daycare center in East Baltimore. Investigators believe she tortured 8-month-old Reese Bowman for approximately 20 minutes. She first claimed the infant died accidentally, but surveillance video from the daycare showed Walden roughly handling the child and using a blanket and pillow to cover the child's face and head. Investigators also learned Walden may have been suicidal weeks before. They think she acted out on the baby.
This is a terrible case.
Creating an excuse. She was suicidal. Nobody cared. Kill yourself. Don't kill the baby. If you're suicidal, take your own self out.
Walden's attorney.
In the privacy of your own home. Take some pills, cut your neck, do whatever you need to do. But stop involving everybody else and your jacked up emotions. No, that ain't going to sit well with a lot of people, but I don't care. Stop killing children.
Some of the blame on the daycare, saying it was not operating up to code and used untrained employees, overloading them with kids.
And I think what you saw is a situation where, there was a breakdown, and she just, fell apart under the stress.
The state of Maryland issued an emergency suspension, immediately closing the facility following the child's death. The daycare never reopened. The Bowman family declined to comment as they left court. Leah Walden's family also did not comment, with the exception of one family member who said, "We are remorseful." Now, under the plea agreement and sentencing, Leah Walden will be eligible for parole in 35 years. Reporting live from...
You see what I'm saying? They talk about 70 years, but she'll be eligible for parole in 35 years. And she'll be right back on the street. I don't like that. I don't. Thank you, Barbara, for saying that. I don't like that at all. 35 years, I'm sorry. That's not enough, man. It's not.
Decades behind bars. This is the sentence handed down to a former daycare worker in Baltimore who prosecutors say killed an infant in her care. 24-year-old Leah Walden was sentenced to 70 years in prison. The murder happened in May of last year at Rocketeers Learning Center, which closed permanently after the killing. Walden admitted she pinned 8-month-old Reese Bowman down in a crib and suffocated her. Investigators made the arrest after watching video footage of the crime. Walden will be eligible for parole when she's 59.
She'll be eligible for parole at age 59. But these parents will never get to see their kid again. That's just not a fair exchange. That's not a good trade-off, man. It's really not. And I say this and I bring this story up again to explain to you guys where the dynamic is in the United States of America. We need to focus more on being Americans, and we as black people need to start cleaning up our own trash. We have to. We have to start calling these people out when they do things, and we have to start doing what we can to try to prevent these things from happening. It always starts at the foundation. The mentality of these people is not balanced. It's far from balanced. And as we've seen over time, time has proven to us that children end up with more mental, spiritual, emotional balance when they have their DNA mother and father in the same household and are raised by the same household. You people can continue to give me one or two examples when they did fine without that. But the mass majority of us that are having our children outside of wedlock are losing and failing. Stop telling me about the macrocosm of the black community. Let's start talking about the negative things that we need to fix. As they say, if it's not broken, then why try to fix it? So if there's a success story, then we don't need to talk about the success story. We need to talk about the failures and fix all of those until we have a minimal amount of brokenness. Because not only does it affect us, but it affects everybody else outside in the world. And at some point, they're going to start turning around and taking it out on us. And that's not what we want ever. We want us to come together as Americans. We preach a message of love, respect, and we want a nuclear family in each and every one of our American households. That is my 2 cents. Thank you guys so much for joining the show.